Chapter 1, Get the Selection System at the Start. New book, Douluo, Get a Digimon at the Start. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Tianhun Empire, Benti Village. In a small, low house, Han Yu stood in the center of the hexagram formation. In front of him stood a strange-looking man, whose head was twice as big as that of an average person. Child, stand still. My name is Langya. I will awaken your martial spirit for you next. Don't be afraid. Han Yu looked at the big-headed man in front of him and nodded calmly. He was an ordinary worker on Blue Star, a very ordinary one. He had worked in a factory, worked as a waiter, and worked as a courier. He was struggling for survival every day. 6 years ago, he traveled to this world called Douluo continent. Although he didn't know the reason, Han Yu could only make the best of it after a brief struggle. As a standard worker, he knew the world of Douluo continent. He liked to read novels after get off work. He couldn't afford entertainment that cost too much, so reading novels became his only pastime. In this life, he was an orphan who grew up eating at 100 families. Now he is in the Tianhun Empire, in a small mountain village next to the Benti Sect. Most of the people in this mountain village are ordinary people who have a relationship with the body sect. Because they have no soul power, they are arranged to do some chores in the village. Every year, people from the body sect come down to awaken the martial souls for the villagers for free. If there are people who awaken the body martial souls, they can use this to replenish fresh blood and maintain the development of the sect. Today is the day for the village to awaken the martial souls. Han Yu stood in the center of the formation, and the light instantly enveloped him, making him feel a little warm. Ding! Please choose the initial talent. System. I didn't expect that there really is a system. Han Yu was a little surprised. Of course, he knew what the system was. Simply put, it was a golden finger that could make people stronger. A transparent screen appeared in Han Yu's eyes. Cultivation Maniac, Innate Soul Power Level 1, Random Low-Level Martial Soul. Each time you get a soul ring, the soul power cultivation speed is increased by 100% according to the current level, that is, 1 level multiplied by 2 and then multiplied by 2, infinitely superimposed. Acquired improvement of innate soul power is still effective. Unboxing Master, Innate Soul Power Level 4, Random Intermediate Martial Soul. Each time you get a soul ring, 3 treasure chests will appear randomly, with random quality. You can choose one of them to enhance the attributes. Soul Guidance Master, Martial Soul Quality is extremely poor, Random Low-Level Martial Soul, Soul Guide Production, Learning, and the power of the Soul Guide doubled. Random Martial Soul has a probability of opening a growth level Martial Soul, with a probability of 1%. Han Yu looked at the screen in front of him and decisively chose the Unboxing Master. The Cultivation Maniac looks very powerful, but he started too late. By the time his cultivation speed increases, he may have entered the coffin, so he is ruled out. As for the Soul Guidance Master, to be honest, with his current status, he can't touch such high-end things at all, and it is of no help to him, so he is ruled out. Overall, the box opening expert is relatively good, with a 4th level innate soul power. Although not the top, it is not bad, and it is close to the middle level, which is better than most people. Han Yu's mentality is relatively calm. He knows what he wants, which is nothing more than living well. In his eyes, there is only one of the 3 options that is suitable for him, and the first one is suitable for a strong background. I just don't know what is in the treasure chest. Han Yu thought with a little expectation. Ding! Congratulations to the host for choosing the talent unboxing expert. The first choice will reward you with a white level treasure chest. Get a growable martial soul, a Sharingan with a jade, and the martial soul has awakened. Get a white level treasure chest. Please choose. Option 1, dynamically strengthen the physique by 50%, and reduce the mental dynamic by 50%. Option 2, dynamically increase the total soul power by 50%, and reduce the physique and mental dynamic by 25% each. Option 3, dynamically increase the mental power by 50%, and dynamically reduce the physique and soul power by 25%. Han Yu looked at the 3 rewards in front of him and fell into deep thought. What the hell is this? Han Yu had a headache. All three options improve the basic attributes, and the amplitude is dynamic, directly adding the total. Is this asking me to play the extreme flow? If you only look at the front, it's pretty good, but what are those negative buffs at the back? My martial soul is the Sharingan. Although it is a Magatama, it should be able to evolve. Theoretically, the previous choice of physique is very good, but if the spirit is reduced by 50%, will I become demented? Hanyu was a little entangled for a moment. If he chose physique, the spirit would be reduced. If he chose soul power, the other two would also be reduced, and the total amount of soul power is useless now. It seems that I can only choose soul power. Although it will be weak for the time being, there are still many things that can enhance physique in Douluo continent. He knows that there are many things that enhance physique, but soul power is more difficult to deal with. System. Choose 3. Hanyu is helpless. It is absolutely impossible to reduce the spirit power. There are ways to improve physique and soul power, but it is still difficult to improve the spirit power in Douluo continent. And he still has the Sharingan, which consumes more spirit power. Choice 3 is the best for now. Ding! The host's mental power is increased by 50%, while the physical and soul power are reduced by 25%. P.S. It will be replenished or even enhanced in the future, so don't worry. As the system prompts, Hanyu feels his mind clear and his whole body feels light, but soon, he felt a sense of weakness in his body, which almost made him unsteady. TCH, you're so weak, it's like you were hollowed out in an instant. Hanyu's face was a little pale, and his body was shaking slightly, trying to keep himself steady. I Wuhuan, Langya's surprised voice came, and Hanyu looked up. Yes, child, let's see if you have soul power. If you have soul power, you can become a soul master. Langya took out a crystal ball and motioned Hanyu to put his hand on it. Hanyu nodded and followed the instructions, holding the crystal ball with both hands. A faint light began to light up, 10%, 20%, and finally stopped when it occupied 40% of the entire crystal ball. When Langya saw this, a trace of pity flashed in his eyes. It would be better if it could be a little higher. Level 4 innate soul power is pretty good. My child, your martial soul is very good. Are you willing to join the Numenon sect to practice? Of course Hanyu knew what Langya was regretting, as his innate soul power was still a bit low. The eyes are a very important part of the human body, and they are considered to be top-notch existences in the main martial soul, because they are connected to the brain. I am willing to join the Numenon sect, senior. Hanyu bowed and said that joining the Numenon sect would only bring benefits to him, but no disadvantages. In this world, I am like a rootless duckweed, and the Numenon sect is considered to be the top group of forces, and there is a characteristic, that is, he is very protective of his shortcomings. He has always treated the soul masters with their own martial souls as family members. Okay, then you go and clean up. I will pick you up tomorrow to go to the Numenon sect. Langya nodded with satisfaction, touched Hanyu's head with his broad palm, and then left with a big smile. Yes, senior. Hanyu nodded slightly and then returned to his home. He wanted to know what his Sharingan martial spirit was, what its specific uses were, and whether it was what he thought it was. Fetching a basin of clear water, Hanyu looked at the clear water. Sharingan. Hanyu closed his eyes, then opened them instantly. A pair of somewhat beautiful and enchanting eyes appeared on the water. Chapter 2: The Body Sect. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Those were beautiful eyes. The pupils were blood red, with a black jade on them that moved slowly with the soul power. Apart from the eyes, there was his delicate face, not handsome, not ugly, but with a dark yellow skin due to malnutrition. Hanyu looked carefully, and as he thought, it was the eyes. It seems that I can see things more clearly, and everything around me seems to have slowed down. Does the temperature around me seem to have dropped? Hanyu muttered to himself, and as the Sharingan appeared, a somewhat cold soul power fluctuation was clearly sensed by him. Will I be mistaken for an evil soul master? This aura is not very positive. Hanyu frowned slightly, but he knew that there was an organization called the Shrek Supervisory Group on the Douluo continent. Forget it, I don't want to think about these problems for the time being. The next step is to practice hard and see if I can get any treasures to improve my qualifications. The ability of one jade is not strong, it can only increase one's dynamic vision to a small extent. Only when it reaches 2 and 3 jades can it slowly show its strength. System. What other functions do you have? Hanyu calmed down and prepared to learn more about the system. Ding. The main function of this system is to select for the host. Due to unknown reasons, there are no other functions for the time being. And the system will go into hibernation next. Every time the host obtains a soul ring, it will wake up once. The host will no longer sleep after reaching 3 rings. Ding. The system goes into hibernation. A mechanical sound without emotion sounded, and Hanyu frowned. It's different from what he thought. What did he just give? It's not enough. The soul power is level 4, and it made him half disabled. Your system is a low-quality system. Hanyu slowly uttered a few words, lying on his bed and thinking slightly. This system doesn't seem to be very intelligent. If you want to become stronger, you have to rely on yourself. Although his martial soul Sharingan is only a Magatama, it is comparable to a medium martial soul. If there is hope to evolve to a Mangekyo Sharingan in the future, it will also be a very powerful martial soul. Tianmeng Ice Silkworm, Electrolux, Ice Emperor, Gold of Living Beings. In the quiet hut, Hanyu said in a dreamlike voice, and then fell into a deep sleep. The weakening of his physique made him feel very tired. His physique was not strong, but only at the level of ordinary people, and now it was even worse. A night passed quickly. Hanyu simply packed up, took a few sets of washed white clothes he wore on weekdays, and came to the village entrance to wait for Langya. Village entrance. Hanyu waited for about half an hour, and Langya's strange big head instantly came into view. Senior. Hanyu hurriedly greeted him and bowed. How is it, have you packed up? Langya looked at Hanyu and said gently. Everything is packed up, and I don't have anything to bring, just some clothes for daily change. Hanyu nodded respectfully, and he just remembered the identity of the person in front of him. Langya, martial soul, brain. He is a spiritual soul fighter, can easily control the consciousness of others. Okay, let's go. You're too slow. I'll take you with me. Langya stepped forward, grabbed Hanyu by the waist with his big hand, and his body flew into the air. Then, in Hanyu's somewhat shocked eyes, 8 soul rings rose from under his feet, yellow, purple, black, black. Langya smiled slightly when he saw this. Don't be surprised. You will be able to be like me in the future. Although your innate soul power is not high, your martial soul quality is indeed very good. In our body sect, innate soul power does not mean anything. We have a way to help you improve it. At least it won't be a problem to improve it by 1 or 2 levels. Ho ho. The wind around was very loud, and Hanyu said with some difficulty. Thank you, senior. I will work hard to practice. The body sect is located in Tianqing in the northern part of the Tianhun Empire, close to Tiando City and Sunset Forest. It is known as the 3 major forces on the continent together with Shrek Academy and Mingda Hall, and the body village is not far from the body sect, and Langya's speed is very fast. It took about half an hour to reach the mountain gate of the body sect. Hanyu carefully looked at the surrounding environment. The body sect was built in the mountains, surrounded by towering and tall peaks. At the entrance of the mountain gate, there were weathered and modeled bronze stone sculptures on both sides. The decoration of the entire sect was not luxurious, but rather a bit simple. There was a plaque at the top with 3 words written on it. Body sect. Child, we're here, follow me. Langya smiled slightly, pulled Hanyu and walked into the sect. As soon as he entered the sect, Hanyu was attracted by the vast martial arts training ground. There were various unknown instruments scattered around, and some disciples were holding them to exercise. Seeing Hanyu and the others coming, he couldn't help but stop what he was doing and looked at them curiously. Elder Langya, is this the new disciple? A burly young man with a height of nearly 1.7 meters, broad shoulders and back, and bulging muscles came from a distance and bowed to Langya. Hanyu carefully looked at the boy in front of him. The boy was about the same age as him, but he was a full head taller than him. His long red hair was parted in the middle, and the hair hanging down on both sides looked extremely smooth. His eyes were narrow and long, his eyes were cold, his nose was straight and his mouth was square. Although he was not particularly handsome, he seemed to have a bit of evil charm. Outyen, you are here. Let me introduce you. This is Hanyu, a disciple who just came to the mountain this year. Martial soul is the eyes. In terms of martial soul strength, it is stronger than yours. Langyan nodded to the boy named Outyen, and then pointed at Hanyu. Hello, little brother, my name is Long Outyen. From now on, we are a family. If you have any questions, you can come to me. Long Outyen smiled heartily, and then patted Hanyu's shoulders with both hands. Hanyu felt the great force on his shoulders, his face changed, his body swayed slightly, and he almost stood unsteadily. Little brother, I'm sorry, the strength is a little bit too much, but your body is a little weak. Long Outyen smiled a little embarrassedly. Hello, brother Outyen, my name is Hanyu, and my body is indeed a little weak. Hanyu's mouth twitched, his handsome face flushed, and then he said frankly, it's good to be able to eat enough at ordinary times, not to mention keeping fit, which is a treatment that only nobles can enjoy. I am just a kid, I can't get those things. Okay, Outyen, you go to train first, I will take Hanyu to see the sect master. And you little bastards, what are you looking at? Why don't you hurry up and practice? If anyone fails the assessment, the training will be doubled. The people around heard the words, like monkeys falling from a tree, and they all practiced swiftly. Yes. Let's go, Hanyu boy, they are all disciples who just joined the sect this year or a few years ago, and now they are doing the most basic physical training. A strong body is very important, especially for the owners of our original martial spirits. It is even more important. Chapter 3, Poison Cannot Kill. You are listening at novelfull.audio. A strong body is not only stronger than others in terms of combat endurance, but also has a stronger soul ring tolerance and cultivation speed. Langya led the way while introducing the situation of the sect to Hanyu. Hanyu listened carefully. He felt that his knowledge had increased a lot along the way. Soon, the two came to the main hall of the sect. There were two old men sitting in the main hall. The first old man was tall, with long dark green hair draped behind him, but what was funny was that he had no hair on his head. He was bald, but his skin was like a baby, without many wrinkles. Sect Master, Hanyu is here. Langya bowed and clasped his hands. He just can't be killed by poison. I didn't expect it to be a Mediterranean. Hanyu smiled slightly in his heart. He almost became a Mediterranean in his previous life. He worked every day, stayed up late at night, and found some fallen hair every time he took a shower. This old man is the leader of the body sect, Dubu. Hanyu, release your martial spirit for me to see. Dubu stood up, with a serious face, staring at Hanyu. Yes. Sect leader. Hanyu nodded slightly, closed his eyes, and then released his Sharingan. The cold breath appeared instantly, and Hanyu's eyes instantly turned blood red, and Amagatama slowly rotated. Such a strong mental power. This kid's mental power at this stage is enough to rival some soul masters with weak mental power. Before Dubu could speak, the old man next to him stood up suddenly and looked at Hanyu in surprise. Old Jean, calm down, don't lose your manners in front of the juniors. Dubu's eyes flashed with deep surprise, but his face remained calm. Humph. Sect leader, don't pretend, you must be so happy with such a treasure. Dubu, who was exposed, was not embarrassed, and suddenly laughed. Haha, Hanyu, are you willing to become my disciple? As long as you become my disciple, the sect will definitely train you vigorously in the future, and you will be the successor of the next sect master. Hanyu was slightly stunned. He didn't expect Dubu to accept him as a disciple. He hesitated and said, Sect master, I am willing, but to be honest, my innate soul power is only level 4. I'm afraid. Hanyu was interrupted by Dubu before he finished speaking. That's it. In our body sect, innate soul power is not the most important, but martial soul is the most important. Low innate soul power can be supplemented later. Our sect has nothing else, but there are still many natural treasures to improve talent. Even if there is nothing, I will rob it. Even if it is the legendary fairy grass, as long as I have news, I will rob it for you. Han Yu's heart moved slightly when he heard this. He knew where the fairy grass was, but this was not a good time to tell Dubusi. He had just joined the sect and didn't know what kind of person he was, and it was not easy to explain how he knew it. People are selfish, and Han Yu is no exception. He will not tell others these secrets before there is absolute trust. However, he could feel Dubusi's sincerity, and was slightly moved in his heart. He bowed and saluted. Disciple Han Yu, meet the teacher. When Dubusi saw Han Yu worship him as a teacher, he immediately danced with joy like a child. Okay, Han Yu, take this storage soul guide. There are two kinds of elixirs in it, namely Xianshui Dan and Xinghun Dan. One can improve your cultivation qualifications, and the other can improve your soul power. A light flashed in Dubusi's hand, and an ancient ring appeared in his hand. With a flick of his finger, it fell on Han Yu's hand. Thank you, teacher. Han Yu put the ring on his hand, injected soul power, and two exquisite jade bottles appeared in his hand. Is this the Xianshui pill? After absorbing these two pills, my innate soul power can be raised to the next level. Okay, go down and absorb them first. I will come to guide you in your cultivation later. Langya, arrange a place for Han Yu to live. Well, just next to me. Dubusi turned his head and looked at Langya on the side and gestured. Yes, Sect Master. I'll take my leave. Langya bowed and pulled Han Yu out of the hall. Ha 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 ha. I didn't expect it. Such a good seedling was found, Lao Jin, there is hope for inheritance. Dubusi looked at the golden body Douluo next to him, his eyes full of excitement. Han Yu's martial soul is indeed very powerful, but I think his physical fitness is worrying. He is not even as good as an ordinary child, and his soul power is indeed a bit low. Golden body Douluo frowned. Although it was true that Dubusi said that innate soul power was not important, it was also very important. Well, this is a problem, but it doesn't matter. I'll find a way to improve the innate soul power. There are still many things that can improve the innate soul power. In addition, next, I will train this kid's physical fitness hard. After all, if jade is not polished, it will not become a useful tool. He. That the two old men looked at each other and laughed at the same time, a small courtyard that is not luxurious. Han Yu, this is your residence from now on. Langya pushed open the door of the hut and turned to look at Han Yu. Han Yu looked at the hut in front of him with a slight twitch at the corner of his mouth. The hut was not big, but a little shabby. The surrounding facilities were also very simple, a lamp, a small table, and a few stools, the so-called soul guide lamp, home soul guide device. Sorry, no. It was not much better than where he lived before. The only consolation was that the surrounding scenery was very good, and the space was large. There was a small pond not far away, and the water in the pond was very clear. Han Yu, are you disappointed? It's not as luxurious as you imagined. Langya picked up a small stool and sat down, saying with a smile. That's not the case. I think it's pretty good here. It's very quiet and suitable for cultivation. But why don't you buy some home soul guides? Han Yu was not very picky about where he lived, but the scene in front of him was very different from what he imagined the body sect to be. In his opinion, as one of the three major forces, the body sect should not be very good, but it should not be bad. Now he felt like living like an ascetic monk. Kid, I know our sect is different from what you imagined. Your reaction is normal. Our sect does not use soul guides, but only cultivates itself, so everyone is powerful. Soul guides are external objects after all, and they are not worthy of being used in a refined place. Langya's tone was full of confidence, and he looked down on the so-called soul guides. Han Yu also understood, but in his opinion, soul guides still have their merits. I still have to go and see soul guides if I have the chance in the future. Even if I can't make them, I at least have to understand them, so as to avoid a setback in the future. Hanyu slightly disagreed and made up his mind to learn more about them. Chapter 4 Take the Pill. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Okay, kid. Just absorb the Xianshui pill here. Remember, don't wear clothes, otherwise you will regret it. Langya stood up, turned around and gave instructions, then turned and left. Hearing this, Hanyu nodded, sat down cross-legged, took out the jade bottle and poured out a cherry-sized pill. It was a dark blue pill with many white textures of different shades on it, surrounded by a layer of light mist. The whole body exudes a bit of fragrance, which smells refreshing. There are 2 pills of Xianshui pill in total. Although the second time you take it is not as effective as the first time, it can still improve a lot. Hanyu took off his clothes, took out 1 pill and swallowed it in 1 gulp, and then began to practice. After taking a pill into his stomach, Hanyu felt as if he was immersed in a refreshing pool. It felt like a blocked passage was being unblocked. The whole person has an indescribable sense of transparency, and rich soul power fluctuations are emitted. Hanyu's whole body was wrapped in a faint blue light, a faint layer of water mist slowly appeared on his body, and a refreshing fragrance quietly emitted. Time passed quickly, and it was already dark in a blink of an eye. What does it smell like? It stinks. Hanyu was awakened by a stench and opened her eyes instantly. The moment he opened his eyes, he felt that his vision became clear, and the darkness around him could not affect him at all. This is... Hanyu was stunned for a moment and looked at himself carefully, his face full of surprise. The skin that was previously dark yellow turned white now, and the body didn't feel as weak as before. It's like there's a layer of mud on the body, and the stench comes from it. Chow, go and wash up quickly. Hanyu pinched her nose and quickly ran to the small pool not far from the house. Plop, a carp jumped up and then fell into the pond, splashing a lot of water. A refreshing chill spread throughout the body. It feels so good. After absorbing the Xianshui pill, I feel that my soul power has improved a lot. I will absorb the rest later. Hanyu swam happily in the pool. The mud on his body gradually disappeared, and the surrounding water became turbid. Fortunately it's not stagnant water, otherwise it would be uncomfortable. Shirtless, he returned to the hut again and took the Xianshui pill to refine it again. The refining speed was very fast this time, and there were very few impurities on the surface. Compared to the first time, there was only a faint black skin on it. The next step is to take the soul-enhancing pill. If you take this pill at level 30, your soul power can be increased by 1 level. I am only a few levels now. After taking it, I can at least increase it by 3 levels, right? Hanyu took out a walnut-sized elixir, took it out to his mouth, and bit it lightly. Suddenly, an extremely rich and fresh aroma spurted out from the elixir. With a gentle suction, a stream of juice immediately flowed into his mouth from the break. It's a bit like eating a soup dumpling. When the skin is broken open, the juice inside explodes. This feeling, Hanyu smacked his mouth with an afterthought on his face. As he took the soul-ascending pill, Hanyu felt his mind become clear. Every cell in his body seemed to come alive, and an indescribable feeling of relief spread throughout his body. Practice quickly, don't waste such a good opportunity. After absorbing the Xianshui pill, Hanyu could clearly feel that his cultivation speed had significantly accelerated, although it was not very fast, but compared to the original, it is almost half faster. Sitting cross-legged, Hanyu silently operated the body-soul power concentration method that Langya had given him before. The meditation methods on Douluo continent are actually similar, and after each sect is improved, it will become more suitable for a certain kind of martial spirit, or a certain series of martial spirit training. This kind of cultivation method is more targeted than the popular cultivation method. The method of condensing the soul power that Hanyu is practicing now is more aimed at developing the potential of the soul. He could feel that his Sharingan had even improved slightly with the blessing of the secret technique. Although the intensity is negligible, the effect over time is terrifying. Just when Hanyu was concentrating on absorbing the soul ascension pill, Du Busui had quietly arrived in his hut and stood there quietly. This kid's mental strength is different from ordinary people. Even Langya's mental strength is not as high as his at this stage, but his body is too weak. The next step is to focus on improving his physical fitness. Otherwise, I might be in big trouble if I absorb the soul ring next. Bushi looked at Hanyu carefully. As a level 98 Super Douluo, he easily discovered Hanyu's shortcomings and advantages. There is still a lot of thousand-year-old whale glue in the sect. I will use it all for this kid. This kid is new here, so I am afraid he is wary of me and the rest of the sect. The first time he saw Hanyu, Bushu could tell that Hanyu was different from other children. The maturity in his eyes could not be concealed, it was as if he had gone through a lot of things, but he could still keep his expression calm when facing a Super Douluo like him, and even had a hint of alertness. Although it was not easy to detect, he was still sensed by the poisonous immortal. This was also the biggest reason why Bushi fell in love with him. He was mature, steady and down-to-earth. Compared with those highly talented disciples, most people have a kind of arrogance. Even if they don't show it at ordinary times, they will burst out once something is involved. Bushu prefers disciples with Hanyu's personality. What he didn't know was that after so many years of polishing, Hanyu was no longer the pure boy. He ate too many big cakes and no longer believed in them. He preferred to be pragmatic, he would treat whoever was good to him well. If you were to draw big cakes for him without taking out practical things, sorry, you can leave. Boy, have you absorbed it? As Hanyu refined the last bit of medicinal power, Bushi sensed it. Ah! Teacher! Why are you here? Hanyu was shocked. When did Bushi come? He didn't even notice it. Humph! I am a level 98 Super Douluo after all. If you find me casually, will I still have face as a Super Douluo? As if he knew what Hanyu was thinking, Bushi glanced at him, picked up a small stool, and sat down boldly. Ahem. Teacher, you are joking. You have a high level of cultivation, so I can't easily sense you. Hanyu was a little embarrassed. With his weak cultivation, even if Bushi stood in front of him, he would not be able to detect him at all as long as he didn't use his eyes to see. He had to work hard in the future, at least to improve his Sharingan. I just didn't know if the body sect had any way to help upgrade the Sharingan. According to his understanding, the Sharingan upgrade required mental stimulation. Chapter 5: How to Upgrade the Sharingan. You are listening at novelfull.audio. It's a bit too difficult for him, he has an adult mind now, most things can no longer sway him, unless it's something he can't accept, such as the loss of a lover or the sacrifice of a close friend. But even if he didn't have any of these two things, he wouldn't make fun of his relatives and friends. Those who can turn on the kaleidoscope Sharingan are all idiots, either mentally immature or because of their deep love. But his current situation is a little different from other people's. Sharingan, the Sharingan exists in the form of a martial spirit. I wonder if the method has changed. If I still follow the original upgrade method, do I have to cultivate a so-called lover? Then come again. Come to life. My sweetheart. Hanyu shook his head, not to mention that this method is unreliable. Even if it works, he must give his true feelings, and I don't know what I will do after losing my beloved. Maybe he will be crazier than others. Okay, Hanyu, test how much your soul power has reached. Busui took out a crystal ball. Although he could feel the cold rain at a rough level of soul power, it was still not as accurate as the crystal ball. His teacher, Hanyu spread his hands flat on the crystal ball, injected a touch of white soul power, and the crystal ball slowly glowed. 1, 2, 3, the speed was not fast, but it was very steady. In a short time, it occupied 80% of the entire crystal ball. 8th level soul power. Not bad. Busui nodded and took back the crystal ball. Next, you will practice with me, and then I will train you well. An inexplicable look flashed in Bushi's eyes. His teacher, Hanyu didn't ask any more questions. He knew that Bushu must have a unique training method. The most intuitive thing is the matching of his soul rings. Before being tested by the gods, most people's soul ring matching ratio starts with 2 yellows. And Poisonous Death didn't have a divine status test, so it was inevitable that he would start with 2 yellow golds, but after the 4th ring, his soul ring turned black. In the end, there were 300,000-year soul rings. In terms of fighting alone, even Xuanzi, the supreme elder of the Holy Spirit sect, was no match for him. You clean up, then come to the main hall and wait for me. I will arrange the sect affairs, and then we will go out to practice. Douluo Jueshi said a word and turned around to leave. Hanyu was a little surprised. He hadn't even spent a day in Numenon's sect, and he was about to go out now. They say they are tidying up, but in fact there is nothing to tidy up, they only have a few clothes. He picked up his small package and headed directly towards the sect's main hall. The other side, in a side hall, after Douluo Jueshi came out of Hanyu's hut, he turned around and came here. In addition to being poisonous and immortal, Golden Body Douluo is also here. Lao Jin, I will take Hanyu boy out next, and I will leave the sect's affairs to you. Douluo Jueshi sat on the chair, picked up the tea next to him and took a sip. TCH, it sounds like you know how to take care of things when you are in the sect. If you want to go, just go. I am with you in the sect, that it's not embarrassing to be exposed even if the poison doesn't kill you. It's been this way for all these years. He is obsessed with cultivation, and he usually doesn't want to care about these mundane things. Then it's settled. Next, I will take him to the beach to practice. It may take a long time. Seaside. Are you going to use that method on him? With his current physical condition, I think it will be difficult. Don't accidentally kill him. Golden Body Douluo was a little surprised. He didn't expect that poisonous death could be so cruel all of a sudden, and he couldn't help but feel silently for Hanyu. Don't worry, that kid is not comparable to ordinary children, and I will gradually increase the difficulty. This is my next heir. Naturally, he cannot practice like ordinary people. As long as he doesn't die, he will practice hard. Poison will not kill you secretly. Okay, Lao Jin, I'll take away the sect's big cauldron. I'll have great use for it next. Douluo Jueshi waved his hand, turned around and left the side hall. The Golden Body Douluo opened his mouth, still wanting to say something, and finally sighed. It seems that the sect master has put his treasure on Hanyu. I hope it won't disappoint you. That boy Outyan's martial spirit is still a bit weak. The main hall of the Numenon sect. The original martial spirit is indeed a very rare martial spirit. The number of people is pitifully small. Hanyu just came from the small courtyard to the main hall, and saw few people along the way, except for the teenagers in the square at the beginning. The others had almost never encountered them. Boy Hanyu, wait a minute. Douluo Jueshi's hearty voice came, and a figure instantly appeared in front of Hanyu with a smile on his face. Teacher, I've only been here for a while, not that long. Hanyu quickly stood up and bowed. You and I, master and disciple, don't have to be so polite in the future. Douluo Jueshi waved his hand. He was not a person who paid attention to red tape. Teacher is a person who teaches and resolves doubts, and is also a bright light on the road of my life. With such kindness, Hanyu is not a heartless person, and I should be polite to you. Hanyu shook his head, with a look of persistence. He valued these things very much. He knew very well how important it was to have a teacher who led you forward on the road of life. Sometimes, it is not that you work hard enough to succeed. Speaking of hard work, I worked hard in my previous life, but why was I still a worker? In the final analysis, there is still a lack of a stepping stone on the road of life. If no one leads you forward, it is difficult for you to succeed on your own. At least most people are like this. You kid, really? Douluo Jueshi shook his head and laughed. Looking at Hanyu's delicate and tender face, his eyes became softer. He had no children, and suddenly got a precious apprentice at this time. The key is that this apprentice is very sensible. How can people not like him? Although he does not pay attention to those red tapes, who doesn't like apprentices who respect teachers and respect the way of the teacher? Good apprentice, the teacher knows your intention, then it's up to you. Let's go. Douluo Jueshi put his hands behind his back and walked out of the hall first. Hanyu nodded and followed immediately. A few days later. Teacher, where are we going? At this moment, the two were resting in a forest, and Hanyu's face was a little pale. Due to the flight with Douluo Jueshi, he went from excitement at the beginning to fear. After a long flight, although Douluo Jueshi had blocked the airflow in the sky for him, he was a little bit overwhelmed at this moment. Our destination this time is Hanhai City near the sea. Also, your body is too weak. Chapter 6, Have the perseverance to work 3 jobs in one day. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Bushi looked at Han Yu's pale face and joked. Ahem. There's nothing I can do about it. Han Yu was helpless. After absorbing the Xianshui pill and Soul Ascension pill, his physical condition had improved a lot, but he has a negative buff, and his constitution will be dynamically reduced by a quarter. The physique that could have been doubled was only 75% under the negative buff. We can only see what can be found in the next treasure chest to remove negative status, Han Yu secretly said. Hanhai City is located in the northwest of the empire. We have traveled more than half of the distance in the past few days. We will be there in 1 or 2 days. Bushi took out his water bag and took a sip of water before explaining. Going to Hanhai City? Is there any good training place there? Han Yu was a little confused. With his current weak strength, shouldn't he slowly cultivate his soul power in the sect and then break through to obtain the soul ring? Then I stayed steady for a few years, went out to practice, made some friends, played games, and went to school. Why is he only going out to practice with his 8th level soul power? Who can he beat with this fighting ability? Humph. Our Numenon sect is not the kind of person who stays in the sect and slowly cultivates. Think about it for yourself. How many disciples have you seen in the sect? A smile flashed across Bushi's face, and then he asked. Here, I really haven't seen many people. Maybe my stay was too short, Han Yu said hesitantly. It doesn't matter how long you stay. Our sect pays attention to actual combat and self-cultivation, so most of the sect members will go out to practice after they have achieved a certain level of cultivation. On the one hand, we are looking for the original martial soul for the sect, and on the other hand, we are also training ourselves to improve our strength. After all, actual combat is the fastest way to improve our strength. Han Yu nodded, finally understanding the reason why the sect had so few people. Okay, let's set off. Bushi stood up and grabbed Han Yu under his arm with a big hand. Hanhai City. After 2 days of torture, Bushi and Han Yu finally arrived at Hanhai City. Hanhai City is very large. As the only coastal city in the empire, the trade industry here is very developed. The number of soul masters is also very large. Taverns can be seen everywhere, where a group of big men are drinking and fist-fighting, and beautiful waiters are walking through them, letting out cute laughs from time to time. Arriving at a hotel that was not luxurious, Bushi stepped forward and booked 2 rooms. Have a good rest today. Tomorrow I will take you out to sea for training. I also need to prepare some things for you. Please stay in the room and don't move around. After Bushi finished speaking, he turned and left the room. Han Yu twitched the corner of his mouth. You are really relieved, just leaving yourself here alone. In desperation, I had no choice but to start practicing. A faint light of soul power emerged, and the soul power in the body increased in a slow and steady way. When practicing, it is like there is a progress bar in my mind, which slowly fills up as time goes by. With my current cultivation speed, it will take a lot of time to reach the 10th level. Han Yu shook his head. His current innate soul power should be around level 5.5, it's not very high, and it's not very low either. It will probably take several months to reach the 10th level. At that time, we will try to plan for the fairy grass and the Tianmeng ice silkworm to see if we can get it. He has now determined the approximate timeline. Long Outyen is a few years older than him, judging from the fact that he was less than 20 years old when he joined the second Soul Master. It should be a little smaller than Bebe now. In other words, they are about the same age as Wu Yuhao and others, but at present, it seems that the first soul ring is not the soul ring of Tianmeng ice silkworm, because the life that follows is not very good. The poisonous immortal disappeared for a whole day and night, and did not return until noon the next day. Good disciple, follow me and let the teacher train you well. There was a strange smile on Bushi's face, and his eyes were filled with evil amusement. Teacher, can you speak more seriously? Just practice. Okay, stop talking so much and keep up. After Bushi finished speaking, he turned around and walked out of the room, waving his right hand behind him to signal Han Yu. Han Yu followed Bushi to the beach, looking at the blue sea water. A look of surprise flashed across Han Yu's face. This was his first time coming to the beach, and he didn't expect the scenery to be so beautiful. Poisonous Death waved his hand, and a small boat appeared on the sea. Although it is not big, it is more than enough to carry the master and apprentice. Get on the boat and soon arrive at an island. Hanyu looked carefully and saw that the island was not very big and he could see the head at a glance. There are only some blue-silver grasses on the island, which add some green here, but there are no other plants at all. This is a shallow sea close to the deep sea. There are tides every day, and the next thing you have to do is not be washed away when the tides come. This will enhance your physique. Bushi took out a large cauldron and spread a thick blanket around it. Although I had thought that my practice would be related to sea water, I didn't expect it to be so abnormal. You must know that the impact of rising sea tides is great and will have an impact on the internal organs of the human body. Those with weak bodies may suffer internal injuries from the huge impact. Teacher, isn't this too difficult? With my current strength, I'm afraid I will be gone when the tide comes. You don't want your apprentice to leave you so soon. The corners of Hanyu's mouth twitched and he spoke with some difficulty. As a landlubber, he has a natural fear of seawater. Don't worry, with the teacher here, nothing serious will happen, and you don't have to worry about causing damage to your body. Do you see this big cauldron? Bushi said with a smile, and then pointed to the three-legged cauldron beside him. This is what the teacher uses to repair your injuries. I will use the secret method of the body sect to prepare the medicine. When the time comes, you can practice in the big cauldron. Seeing that Bushi had prepared enough for him, Hanyu's uneasy heart finally calmed down. Take a deep breath, a trace of determination flashed in his eyes. Since he came here, he would fight hard, take out the perseverance of 3 jobs a day and do it. Yes. Teacher, Hanyu nodded. In that case, take off your clothes and go into the water now. You will stay by the side for the first time. Hearing this, Hanyu took off his clothes in a few seconds, leaving only a pair of shorts, exposing his ribs. Looking at his figure, Hanyu shook his head with a wry smile, walked to the edge of the island, and slowly sank into the water. Hiss. The sea water was very cold. As soon as he entered the water, a chill came instantly. The sea water sank into his chest, and a water pressure pressed on his chest. Hanyu could clearly feel the pressure, and his heartbeat was much faster than usual. His chest felt a little stuffy, and there was some indescribable discomfort, as if a heavy object was pressing on his chest and he couldn't breathe. Get ready. The tide is coming soon. Bushi looked at the sea surface. Not far away, a large number of waves had already appeared hazily, rushing towards this side. Chapter 7 Don't give up, hold on. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Boom. There was a huge sound of waves not far away. The sound was loud, like thunder. A trace of solemnity flashed across Hanyu's pretty face, and he held on to the Xiaoshi beside him tightly with both hands. The blue waves surged and came in an instant. Swish. Hanyu's body shook, and the huge impact almost made him suffocate. Before he could catch his breath, the next wave of waves followed. Wow! Hanyu's face turned frighteningly pale as he gulped down large mouthfuls of sea water, but he held on to the Xiaoshi tightly, and his fingers turned white because of excessive force. Don't give up, hold on. Hanyu bit his lips tightly, and a trickle of blood flowed out, which was soon washed away by the sea water. There were red marks all over his skin, and his thin body seemed to be rounder because of the swelling. Waves of waves came one after another, and the huge impact rushed straight over. Ah! It's so uncomfortable, I can't hold on any longer. Hanyu's head was a little dizzy, and his consciousness gradually became a little blurred, but the hands holding Xiaoshi were still tightly clenched. Boom! Boom! Bushi looked at this scene and nodded with satisfaction. This kid is really unexpected, this persistence is precious. After about half an hour, Hanyu couldn't hold on any longer, and his hands tightly holding Xiaoshi suddenly loosened, and the whole person was about to be washed away by the waves. Is it the limit? Hanyu had a thought in his mind, and at this moment, a pair of big hands grabbed him. Teacher. Then his eyes went black and he fell into a coma, crackling. The island was very quiet at night, and the tide had receded at this time. Hanyu felt that he was in a warm ocean, and his whole body was extremely comfortable. The hungry body greedily absorbed the surrounding warmth, and the warmth entered the body, and the injuries on his body improved at a speed visible to the naked eye. After an unknown amount of time, the warmth around him gradually turned cold, and Hanyu opened his eyes in confusion. "What's wrong with me? Teacher, did you cook me?" Hanyu didn't know whether to laugh or cry. At this moment, he was in the big cauldron, with a raging fire burning underneath. Dubusi squatted beside him and added some fuel from time to time. "Come out as soon as you wake up." "What nonsense are you talking about? I am helping you to temper your body." "Tempering your body?" Hanyu lowered his head and looked at his thin body. He felt that there was no change, except that the luster on it looked much better. The effect will not be achieved in a short time, and it requires a long soaking. Dubusi explained on the side. Hanyu suddenly realized what he said. Although the effect was not obvious, Hanyu still felt the difference. The speed of the soul power in his body seemed to have accelerated a lot. Gurgle. Hanyu shook his head awkwardly. It has been almost a day since he landed on the island, and he has not eaten a single bite of food during this period. At this moment, he felt very hungry, as if he could eat a lot of food. "If you're hungry, come and eat. A good physique requires meat." Dubusi waved his hand, and a large pile of food appeared on the flat ground. Hanyu swallowed his saliva, and couldn't help but pick up a calf of an unknown soul beast and started eating. This pile of food was about the weight of 4 people, but Hanyu ate it all. Lying on the blue-silver grass on the side, Hanyu smacked his lips with satisfaction. Except for the taste, everything else was okay. Now let me tell you about the cultivation method of our body sect. Our body sect mainly cultivates combat skills. Dubusi took out something like a parchment scroll and spread it in front of Hanyu. "Teacher, combat skills are a way of operating soul power?" Hanyu sat up and looked at the parchment with some curiosity. There were many little people on it, posing in various postures, and each little person had a lot of red dots on his body, which seemed to have a specific pattern. "Yes and no. Do you know about self-created soul skills?" Hanyu nodded. He knew about this. Some large sects have their own secret skills, that is, self-created soul skills. For example, Haotian 9-Ju, Chaos Cloak Hammer method of Haotian sect, and Distraction Control method of Jiubaoliuli sect. Ours is similar to self-created soul skills, but one difference is that it is just a set of methods. Depending on the different martial souls, everyone's skills are different. Dubusi paused and continued. For example, if the martial soul is an arm, then his combat skills are related to the arm, which can greatly improve the combat power of the arm. Hanyu understood. To put it bluntly, the combat skills of the body sect are a set of ways to exert force. As for what skills they are, it depends on how you exert them. Arms, calves, and even belly, if they are well developed, meat and egg impact may also be produced. Our combat skills are a kind of self-created soul skills derived from communicating with our own martial souls. The specific power of the soul skills depends entirely on our own comprehension ability. At this point, Hanyu finally moved. If he were to practice this combat skill, combined with the Sharingan martial soul, he might be able to create many illusions, understand the principles and effects of release, then through the martial soul, it should be possible to release it, but this is just his guess. Whether it can be done depends on subsequent practice. I haven't learned about your martial soul yet. Now tell me about the characteristics of your martial soul. I-type martial souls are mostly spiritual, and you will probably be a spiritual control type soul master in the future. Dubusi looked at Hanyu with a smile. He hadn't learned about his martial soul in detail these days, so this was a good opportunity to learn more about it. Each martial soul has its own characteristics, which can enhance speed, strength, or have other effects. Hanyu was silent for a moment, thinking about how to start, whether to tell Dubusi that the martial soul can evolve. If he told it, maybe the other party would really have a way to solve it. If he didn't tell it, he couldn't think of any good way to solve it by himself. Forget it, Dubusi is the only person I can trust now, and it's no big deal. After all, I will know it in the future. Hanyu said secretly. Teacher, my martial soul is called Sharingan. Unlike ordinary eyes, after I open the Sharingan, my dynamic vision will be enhanced. Hanyu opened the Sharingan, pointed, and then continued. It's called a spiritual system, but in fact, my eyes are more suitable for close combat at present, because I can capture the enemy's movements. In my eyes, the enemy's movements will be infinitely slowed down. As long as my own body can keep up, I can counterattack at any time, or even defeat him. Hanyu looked at Du Buxi's somewhat surprised eyes and said slowly. There is such a powerful ability, not bad, then you have to strengthen your close combat ability in the future, otherwise it will be wasted. Du Buxi's tone was surprised. He didn't expect Hanyu to give him such a big surprise. Just imagine, if you can slow down the opponent's movements, it is equivalent to mastering the opponent's actions. In a one-on-one duel, if the strength difference is not big, Hanyu can be said to win. Before Du Buxi got rid of his surprise, Hanyu gave him another big surprise. Chapter 8 Obtain the First Soul Ring. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Teacher, my Sharingan martial spirit is not actually in its final form. I can feel that there is still room for upward evolution. Hanyu thought of words and said that with his own understanding, he could not die from deception. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. As my own martial spirit, the owner can clearly sense the specific abilities of my own martial spirit, just like some soul beasts with inheritance. When their strength reaches the level, they can unlock the inheritance memory and acquire skills. Evolution. Du Buxi looked surprised. He originally thought that he had the blessing of dynamic vision, but in fact it was already as good as the top martial arts. Yes, teacher, look at my eyes. There is a black Magatama inside. If it evolves again, there will be one more. According to my perception, there can be up to 3. Hanyu pointed to his eyes. A black Magatama was slowly rotating in the scarlet pupil. Does that mean that for every additional Magatama, there is an additional ability? Du Buxi deserves to be called a super Douluo, and he immediately thought of something deeper. Yes, but I don't know what the specific abilities are at the moment, and it should be a bit difficult to evolve. Hanyu frowned. Now he didn't know any other way and could only try the original method. What do you need? Treasures from heaven and earth, or soul rings and soul bones? Teacher, go get them for you. Hearing this, Du Buxi stood up suddenly and was about to take action. You don't need treasures of heaven and earth, soul rings and soul bones. To evolve a martial soul, you need strong mental stimulation, a particularly strong one, and then by generating a lot of negative emotions, hatred, etc., you can evolve the martial soul. And my subjective consciousness you can't know, otherwise you will feel defensive. Hanyu thought for a while, and then said, I don't know if Du Buxi can understand it. Du Buxi frowned. This was a bit difficult to do. It required strong mental stimulation and Hanyu didn't know about it. The key is that he still doesn't know what constitutes strong mental stimulation and where the boundaries are. Master, now that you know it, you can continue to practice. I will figure this out. Hanyu nodded and sat down cross-legged, planning to practice instead of resting. You need to practice during the day, so you can only practice at night. 5 months later, boom. Wave after wave keeps rising and then disappearing. In the middle of the huge waves, a firm and somewhat thin figure stood in the center. Despite the ruthless tide, the young man's expression remained unchanged, and there was even some enjoyment on his face. Such an impact can no longer cause me any trouble. It's time to increase the difficulty. Hanyu stopped practicing, and the current stage could no longer bring him much improvement. Over the past 5 months, Hanyu has been practicing every day. From the beginning next to the island, he has now gone a long way. In contrast, the impact of the waves is more severe. Fortunately, to this extent, he has now fully adapted to it. Boy Hanyu, you are now at level 10, have you ever considered getting any soul rings? Du Buxi smiled and said to the shirtless Hanyu, compared with the previous few months, Hanyu's physical fitness has become much stronger now, and even his height has increased a lot. He also has a few ounces of meat on his body. He doesn't look so thin, and his whole body is plump. Teacher, I'm not sure about this. In theory, the spiritual type is better. Hanyu said hesitantly that Du Buxi had also told him about the knowledge of soul beasts in the past few months, but there weren't many, and Du Buxi wasn't an expert in this field either. What he told him were some soul beasts that he knew about himself. Well, that's good. It seems that I still remember the theoretical knowledge from the past few months. For soul rings, one generally chooses soul beasts that are more compatible with one's own martial soul attributes as hunting targets in order to obtain soul rings. The most suitable one for you is undoubtedly the spiritual type, and spiritual type soul beasts are relatively rare. I plan to take you to the far north, where there is a spirit beast called the Snow Demon. It is a spiritual soul beast, characterized by the ability to release a spiritual release soul skill, mental tremor. Having good control ability, combined with your Sharingan, it should have good effects. Bushi said with a smile that he had already thought about where to find a suitable soul beast to obtain the Hanyu soul ring. I listened to the teacher, so when do we set off? Hanyu put on her clothes, sat down cross-legged and asked. Without further delay, let's take a rest. I will take you there early tomorrow morning. However, after I send you to the outer reaches of the far north, you need to move forward on your own. Hanyu's expression changed slightly, but quickly returned to normal. In the past few months, in addition to tidal body training every day, he also asked Busui for advice on physical skills. He sparred with Poisonous Death every day, and although he never won once, it also gave him a lot of practical experience. The blessing of the Magatama Sharingan to him is not as great as imagined, but it is enough to improve his strength a lot. After a night's rest, Bushi brought Hanyu to the outskirts of the far north. The far north is very close to the place where he practices, and it is also close to the sea, but it is a sea of ice. The far north is very large, so the entrance is also extremely wide. At a glance, it's all snowy and deserted. Hanyu, it's up to you. The Snow Demon is in the Howling Cave on the periphery. You will meet it soon if you keep going along this road. Bushi pointed in the direction and then turned and left. Of course, he didn't really leave, but followed Hanyu in a place where he couldn't feel it. He would only take action when Hanyu was in danger. This was exactly what Hanyu wanted. It was a good time to test his strength. Fighting Bushi every day made him lose confidence. The far north was located in the northern border of the Tianhun Empire. The further you go, the colder it gets. For this reason, Hanyu bought some thick clothes in the city on the way. Hanyu walked slowly, holding a very sloppy map in his hand. It was drawn by Bushi for him last night. It only marked the location of the Howling Cave, and there was nothing else. It's so cold. After walking for about a quarter of an hour, the temperature became colder and colder. The cold wind blew into his body through the gaps in his clothes, making him shiver. He couldn't help but pull the cotton coat on his body and wrap himself tightly. Starting over, Hanyu quickly headed for the location marked on the map. I hope I won't encounter any powerful soul beasts, otherwise my combat power will be greatly weakened in this environment. Hanyu exhaled a white mist, which soon turned into tiny ice crystals dripping down under the absolutely low temperature. Oh my god, this is simply water turning into ice. Hanyu smacked his lips, and although the muscles on his face were a little stiff, he walked forward with a firm step. Chapter 9: The Far North. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The path of spiritual practice is inherently difficult. If you don't have enough experience, you will be like flowers in a greenhouse. As for why not let the poisonous beast catch one and then absorb it yourself, of course he can do this, but it is not necessary, and it will not have the effect of experience. Come on, we should be in front of the Wailing Cave marked on the map. Without looking at the low caves not far away, Hanyu said with some surprise. The Wailing Cave is covered with a large amount of snow, and only one cave entrance is exposed. This should be a phenomenon that the Snow Demon's soul beast usually frequents, otherwise it would have been covered with snow long ago. The Snow Demon is a social soul beast. Once it reaches 100 years of cultivation, it will open a hole outside. Once it reaches 1,000 years, it will look for a mate and then make a bigger hole. The age of the Snow Demon inside can be judged from the size of the cave entrance. The older the Snow Demon is, the larger it will be, and the hole will naturally be larger. Following the method of identifying age mentioned by Bushi, Hanyu found an outermost cave. The entrance of this cave is not big, it can be said to be the smallest inside. It can be judged that this is the residence of a Snow Demon that is about 100 years old. He should be single at the moment. but I don't know exactly how many years. The cold rain slowly entered the cave entrance. The coldness as imagined did not intensify, but the temperature increased a lot. The cave was not long. Hanyu walked a few steps and turned a corner, and saw a snow-white soul beast crawling and floating in the air. This soul beast is very petite, with purple skin and a head that looks like a water droplet turned sideways. There are 2 ice crystals and some holes on the top of the head. It has no legs, and its arms hang from its head like ears, its wrists shiny with patches of light blue. Seeing Hanyu coming, the snow demon was slightly dazed, as if he couldn't figure out why there were humans here. About 500 years, and the age is also quite suitable. Hanyu carefully looked at the snow demon in front of him. Although his physical fitness had improved a lot, it could only be considered normal overall. Douluo Jueshi has done tests and determined that the range of years Hanyu can absorb is about 500 to 600 years, and the one in front of him is just right. Ugh. Hanyu was also unceremonious at that moment. He closed his eyes and then suddenly opened them. The originally deep pupils in his eyes suddenly turned scarlet, and a Magatama slowly rotated in it, exuding a cold aura. The moment the Sharingan opened, Hanyu felt that everything around him began to slow down. The storage soul tool flashed, and an extremely sharp sword-shaped soul tool appeared in his hand. This was something he specifically asked Douluo Jueshi to do. His body was too weak, so he could only get some better equipment to increase his combat power. Phew. The snow demon screamed, feeling the danger from Hanyu's body, and some of his small eyes were afraid to stare at Hanyu's scarlet eyes. Hanyu clenched his hand with the sword in his hand and flew to the side of the snow demon in an instant. He raised the sword high and struck it directly on the head. The snow demon's ear-like arms suddenly straightened out, directly blocking the blow. Bump. Hanyu retreated slightly, a trace of solemnity flashed in his eyes. He didn't expect that this snow demon looked harmless, but was actually so powerful. At this moment, the hand holding the sword was trembling slightly. Hanyu took a deep breath, mobilized the soul power in his body, and injected it into the sword in his hand. The tachi actually grew slightly longer at this moment, and a blade glow emerged from the blazing white sword. Let's see if you can block it this time. Hanyu's Sharingan stared closely at the snow demon, and his mental power reached its limit. Cut! Hanyu's deep and loud shouts echoed in the cold space, and the sharp sword was supported by his full strength. The blade passed by, splitting the snow demon in two with a gorgeous arc, but no blood flowed out. What? It's actually an afterimage. Hanyu was slightly startled. The moment he slashed out, he felt something was wrong. He seemed to be in a trance just now, causing the attack to be missed. Phew. The snow demon's angry scream sounded, and an invisible wave emitted. No, it's the snow demon's mental tremor. Sensing a powerful mental force attacking him directly, Hanyu frowned and the Magatama in his eyes rotated rapidly. Open your eyes wide and stare suddenly. Mental shock. Base. An invisible ripple collision. The snow demon's body trembled, as if he had suffered a heavy blow. His breath suddenly became weak, and his body floating in the air fell down weakly. Humph. Compared with my mental strength, you're still a little behind. Hanyu's face was a little pale, and the cold sweat on his forehead turned into ice crystals as soon as it seeped out. Although he does not have any powerful attack skills now, he relies on his strong mental power. He reluctantly figured out a small soul skill, which was to gather his mental power to attack the enemy. As long as your mental strength is lower than your own, it will be absolutely difficult to resist. Although the snow demon is a 500-year-old soul beast, Hanyu may not be able to defeat it with a real sword or a real gun. However, with his mental power comparable to that of an ordinary soul master, he actually defeated the snow demon in an instant. Psychic attacks are so terrifying, but they cost a lot. Hanyu panted heavily, a hint of excitement flashed in his eyes. He was very satisfied with the effect of his first actual combat. The soul masters on Douluo continent are not very strong in spiritual defense, which is extremely beneficial to him. Just one Magatama is so powerful. I wonder what 2 and 3 Magatama will be like. The basic abilities of the Sharingan are insight, copying, and illusion. Only 3 Magatama can be regarded as the real Sharingan, and as for the Mangekyo above, it is even called the power of God. Coming to the snow demon whose spirit was severely damaged, the sword swung and ended its evil life. A slightly dark yellow soul ring rose from the snow demon. This should be the soul ring, so magical. Seeing the soul ring rise with his own eyes, Han Yu's face was full of surprise. He sat cross-legged and began to absorb the soul ring according to the soul ring traction method said by Debussy. The soul power was attracted, and the dark yellow soul ring on the snow demon seemed to be attracted, slowly floating towards Han Yu, and soon put on him. Not bad, I hunted down a 500-year-old snow demon with my own strength. It seems that the Sharingan is really powerful. Debussy muttered to himself in the dark. He saw the battle clearly. The snow demon should have hit Han Yu several times, but he dodged it instantly with the powerful insight of the Sharingan. From his perspective, Han Yu seemed to be a prophet, as if he knew where the next attack would fall and dodged it in advance. It seems that we can start the second stage of training. I hope Han Yu won't blame me. I have prepared a big surprise. Maybe it can really make his Sharingan evolve. Chapter 10 The First Soul Skill, Mind Control. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Absorbing the soul ring was not as difficult as imagined. It took not too long to absorb it. The soul power reached the 11th level, and there was even some left. Han Yu could feel that it would not be long before he could break through to the 12th level. A circle of slightly dark yellow soul rings rose from Han Yu's feet, exuding the breath of a 100-year soul ring. It's not the snow demon's mental tremor, but it has become mental control. Han Yu was a little surprised. The first soul skill, mental control, was activated through the Sharingan. By looking at the enemy, occupying the enemy's mind, he could instantly control the enemy whose mental power was not greater than his. The control time depends on the opponent's strength. Han Yu estimated that his mental power was now equal to that of an ordinary soul master. If he controlled a soul master, he might only be able to control it for a few seconds, but it was enough. A few seconds was enough for him to complete a fatal blow. There was only one disadvantage, which was that it had to be launched at close range. Ding! The system wakes up. Congratulations to the host for breaking through to the Soul Master. You will get a white-level treasure chest. Please choose. Option 1, increase the innate soul power level by 2 levels. This option will only appear once and will not appear again. Option 2, increase the current soul power by 10 levels, which will cause slight soul power deficiency and the soul power cannot be increased within half a year. Option 3, reward B-level ninjutsu shadow clone technique, which can use soul power to create a physical clone with all the abilities of the original body. After the selection is completed, the system will fall asleep again. The reward this time is very generous. The first one increases the innate soul power by 2 levels, which is very good for me now. For long-term development, the first choice is the most suitable. If I increase my innate soul power by 2 levels, it will reach the level of 7.5. Choose the second one, which can quickly increase my soul power and even obtain soul rings immediately, but it is not very suitable for me now. I cannot accept no improvement within half a year. And the teacher's explanation is not very good. As for the third reward, the shadow clone technique is very powerful. Although it cannot immediately increase combat effectiveness, it will be very simple to develop skills in the future if I choose the shadow clone technique. What should I choose? Han Yu's heart moved, and he had difficulty in making choices. In fact, all 3 options are good, with potential, level, and attack methods, but I am currently lacking combat skills. Otherwise, try option 3. It's decided to be you, system. I choose 3. Ding! Congratulations to the host for choosing option 3 and obtaining the shadow clone technique. Shadow clone technique, use soul power to create a physical clone. The clone evenly distributes the soul power of the main body, has a consciousness independent of the main body and a certain ability to resist attacks. After the clone is released, the memory and experience of the clone will return to the main body. The shadow clone technique is in hand. Han Yu's heart moved, and his eyes were full of deep surprise. At this moment, he felt that the first and second were rubbish, and they were not as good as the shadow clone technique. With my current strength, it shouldn't be difficult to split a clone. From now on, I will practice combat skills, which means double the training speed. After the reward selection was completed, the system has fallen asleep. Hanyu didn't know what to say about this inferior system, but fortunately, the things opened this time are good, and his strength will improve faster in the future, and he can have more routines in combat. The shadow clone can attack, and has a certain ability to resist attacks. It can do a lot of things with the main body. It will divide the soul power in the body, making the already limited soul power even worse. Fortunately, his skills are spiritual. Hanyu was slightly relieved about this. Next, find a soul beast to practice. After getting the first soul skill, Hanyu was eager to try the power. He touched the snow monster's body a few times, and no surprise, no soul bone appeared. Hanyu smiled indifferently, and did not keep hope for this, and turned to walk out of the cave. Outside the cave, the temperature was slightly lower, and Hanyu pulled the hood of his cotton coat. Can't find a spiritual beast, try to find a power-type soul beast. Hanyu continued to walk forward, leaving a pair of small footprints on the snowy snow, but they were soon submerged by the wind and snow, leaving no trace. Roar! After walking for a while, a huge monster appeared in Hanyu's eyes not far ahead. It was a soul beast that looked like a tiger, about 3 or 4 meters long, snow white, without a single color on its body, except for the tail with 8 black stripes. It's the white ice tiger. It looks like it has been practicing for about 800 years. Hanyu's eyes flashed with a gleam of light. This soul beast was just right for testing the power of mental control. Roar. The white ice tiger also discovered Hanyu's trace, looked at him with hostility, pressed back slightly with its hind legs, and pounced on Hanyu in an instant. So fast. Swish. Hanyu did not dare to be careless. The scarlet Sharingan appeared instantly, exuding a cold breath. Under these eyes, nothing you can escape. My eyes have seen another world. Hanyu grinned. Under the powerful insight, the speed of the white ice tiger had become extremely slow in his eyes. The sword in his hand appeared, and with the injection of soul power, the blazing white light filled the entire blade. Facing the swift pounce of the white ice tiger, Hanyu dodged the attack of the white ice tiger with just a jump. The enormous force of the white ice tiger created a huge snow pit on the snow, which shows how powerful its attack was. Seeing this scene, Hanyu's eyes condensed slightly, and he looked at Bai Bingu with full vigilance. Bai Bingu missed the attack, shook his head carelessly, and roared at Hanyu. "Little tiger, why are you yelling? Watch me." The next moment, Hanyu's figure disappeared from the spot, and suddenly appeared in front of Bai Bingu. Bai Bingu was stunned, as if he didn't expect Hanyu to be so fast. Swoosh. Good opportunity, mind control. Hanyu widened his eyes. The scarlet Sharingan spun wildly, and a powerful spirit quickly hit Bai Bingu. Bai Bingu's body stiffened, and then his face was blank. Success. Puff. The sword in his hand mercilessly slashed at Bai Bingu's waist, and the blade light turned into a slash, leaving a huge wound on Bai Bingu's body. Blood gushed out immediately, like a broken water bag, but in just a moment, it was frozen by the cold air and turned into an ice sculpture-like artwork. Hanyu's mouth twitched. Was this a disguised way of stopping the bleeding? Then, Hanyu swung out another knife and slashed directly at Bai Bingu's head. Crack. Bai Bingu's body instantly separated and fell on the snow, rolling a few times before stopping abruptly. A circle of deep yellow soul rings slowly emerged. Without any obstacles, under the blessing of soul power, the sword became extremely sharp and could not bring any resistance at all. It's so strong.